I'm back again. I fished Friday night, Saturday night, didn't do so well, made a few mistakes, which I'll go through a bit later, but basically I fished a very weedy area and ended up having a rake twice, and I think I had a couple of carp the first night, only small fish that have grown on naturally in here, both commons. I had a reasonably decent bream, certainly for in here, just over £9 on the second night, but it was really quiet. And I think I raked in the evening, which seemed to work quite well, and then I raked the second day at lunchtime because there's still a ton of weed out there. And I'm talking, I raked for an hour both times. So I've gone to a different swim this time, found some deepish water. I'm not sure if you can see my marker out there. I'm going to go with half a dozen balls, this sort of size. There's a bit of bloodworm ground bait in there, there's a lot of hemp, some crushed up sweet corn and crushed up krill boilies I've gone with. I've put some 4mm and 2mm fish meal pellet. I'm hoping to maybe trigger 1 or 2 tench into at least responding at some point. I'll get back to you. I'll show you the fish at the end of this video that I caught over the weekend, but I'm back for another 2 nights. So a bit windy tomorrow, but because this is so low down, it really, as you can see, isn't affected greatly. So let's get some balls out and see how we go. Evening, rod just flew off. Single krill pellet with a bit of pink corn. Just hit the scales. £20, 2 ounces. Absolutely solid fish. Beautiful, as you can see. Both sides equally beautiful. Look at that. Let's get her back, see what else is out there. These are the rigs I've gone with this week. I've gone with a complete change. Come away from the tutti frutti completely. I've gone with a krill pellet with a bit of fake plastic corn. Again, that krill pellet is shrink wrapped to give it a bit of longevity in the water. I've gone on a size 8 Drennan barbel hook with my usual bit of silicone pole float tubing it is, covering the metal taste of the hook. The reason I've got a lot of confidence in this krill pellet and this combination, obviously because I use it a lot and it's caught me a lot of big fish, carp, bream and tench. But I fished the water a couple of years ago quite near here, St Joseph Wick, and there was a lot of tench in there. Well, I certainly caught a lot, and they all fell to this, and I went through the tutti frutti range and tried various other baits. The other one I've gone with is I've gone with a krill boilie, a small one, as you can see. The 10mm just cut a little bit off, so the bit of pink sweet corn sits flush. I'm speaking to a couple of guys who fished, Carl fished over the weekend, and he had quite a lot of success on krill. Had a couple of decent carp, and evidently I've heard on a grapevine that a lot of the anglers who fish here do fish with krill pellet. Although they're targeting the carp primarily, if there's a lot of krill pellet going in, or krill boilie I should say, going in, then invariably the tench will come onto the krill. I think ultimately they prefer the high oil content of the trout pellet. I'm going to try something else a little bit later. I'm going to try making up some bread paste, and what I've done is I mixed the bread paste up, and I wet down some high oil trout pellet and mix them in with the bread to create a marble effect. But I've also added in a few krill pellet which I've wet down, so they're like powder form, and they just mix in with the bread. So there's the high oil content of the trout pellet in the bread, but there's also the flavour of krill. So as and when whatever works, I'm going to go through the card. I've got maggots with me again. I'll try them as long as they don't get turned over by the rudd too often. Yeah, I'm here for a couple of nights. Let's see what happens, and I'll get back to you as and when. Cheers, guys. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and Fourth fish of the second session. Another lovely condition common. Got a little mark on this one. It's just a scale missing. A little bit of a sore. Still a lovely fish though. Tonight it's 2 o'clock and another nice condition bream. I don't mind a bream, as you know. Just over £8 that one, 8.1. So happy with that. Get her back. See what's out there. At some point I'll get a tinge. Morning, 6:10, 7th fish. Fortunately I got a couple of hours after them last couple of bream. Oh, lively. 14.10. Lovely fish, again common, as you can see. Again mint condition. Let's get her back. See what else I can catch. Little mark on her there, but still absolutely immaculate. Give you a recap, a weary recap after the first night. So as I said earlier, Friday, Saturday night, I felt like I messed up completely. Got it all wrong. I got my tactics wrong. My bait presentation was wrong. The bait that I put out was wrong. The bait that I used on the hook was wrong. And I had a day or two to think about it. And I talked to Jackie, my wife, and fortunately she's very accommodating and she understood my conundrum, and hence why by Monday I'm back again for another 2 nights. So what a night. I had a lot of sleep. First fish came at 8 o'clock in the evening. Beautiful common, about that was £20, 2 ounces. That was followed by 6 more fish, 3 bream, all over £8. 8.1 was the smallest of the 3. 8.13 was the biggest. I also had 3 more common, between £14 and £17. I'll show you the videos and photos later on. Yeah, it's still only 6:30 in the morning. Cup of coffee, bleary-eyed, weary, not getting any younger. It's old so-and-so. Yeah, I've got to say the commons in here are absolutely mint condition, and they really scrap. And interestingly, the one that pulled back the hardest was the smaller of the 2. I hooked it under that tree. I don't know if you can see that silver birch that's hanging out across there. I dropped it just short over there, and that was on a krill boilie with a bit of pink fake corn to just critically balance it. And the other 6 fish were on my rod in the middle. I found a slightly deepish area, very soft bottom, and suspected there might be some bloodworm out there, because the fish I have seen blowing up and fishing have been around that area, and it's about 4 inches deeper than the surrounding area. It's just like a strip about 3 foot wide, about 10 foot long. So I just put some bait out there, 8 balls of ground bait, and yeah, I had all those 6 fish on krill pellet topped with a bit of pink corn. So got another 24 hours. Let's see what happens, and I'll get back to you. So it's 1 o'clock, and it's the best bream I've had out of here. Just a tad over £9, £9.5. Lovely, thick fish, solid fish, absolutely immaculate. Not a mark on it anywhere. Fin perfect, absolutely beautiful. Date. 2 of the better bream that I've had, by all accounts, according to Mark Host, who co-runs the place, they don't go over £8 in here. So the fact that I've had a couple of 9s, it's yeah. I was a bream in a previous life, so this is what I do. But I've used this. I've had both of them on the same bread paste mix. So basically, what I do is I get some bread paste, and I've melted down with some hot water, some trout pellet, and some krill pellet, as you can see in there. And basically what you've got is you've obviously got the bread content, which, you know, bream and tench, and this primarily for the tench. Bream and tench both like. You've got the high oil trout from the trout pellet, the high oil content from the trout pellet, which the tench definitely like. And because there's been a lot of krill going in, I'm kind of thinking they might have an inclination towards krill as well. So I've put some krill pellet in there. And then what I do is I take a piece like this and then I mould it between my fingers as much as I can. So it's a nice firm paste like this. And I actually mix my bread, break it up into little bits and then mix it dry and then add the wet pellet to it. And then you come up with something like this. You have to give it a few squeezes, but it's worth it. I mean, the way I get it to stay on the hair is I just have a little sleeve of, it's from one of the Calder dumbbell pop-ups on the hair. And then I mould the bread. I push that in like that and then mould the bread around. Back in the day when I was fishing bread paste years and years ago, as many of us did, we moulded it around the hook and then was hoping to be able to cast it 30-40 yards out and it stay on. And after time you're sitting there thinking, oh, did that bread come off on the cast? This way it stays on. And most importantly, and I put some of this in the margins last night, just to see what it was like, and this morning it was still whole. So unless a fish attacks it, it's not coming off. And the rud, because what happens is it goes a little bit soft around the edges, but the longer it's in the water, the middle gets harder and harder. And so the rud can peck at it, and all they're doing is just taking off little tiny flakes. I had one of them out there when I had a quiet period of about 3 hours this morning. When I brought it back in, I was able to recast it. I didn't need to change it, and it was in that good a nick. But ironically, about 10 minutes after I recast it, off it went with that most recent bream at around 12 o'clock. So that's what it looks like. And as you can see, I've just pushed it around the hook a little tiny bit. And that'll cast a long distance if you need to and stay on because of that bit of plastic. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, I'm gonna have a recast of that rod actually, and let's see what's out there. Hopefully at some point I might catch a tench. I will do. It's just how long it's going to take me. But yeah, with there being definite £10 tench in here, they really excite me. But now I'm beginning to think there might be £10 bream in here, because I think I've had two over £9, and you know, in a month's time, when both them fish, and they were both females, are full of spawn, they're going to definitely be over 10. So that's another target for me. So I've got on my bucket list for this place. An upper 20s carp, a mirror. I still haven't had a mirror yet. There's a grassy in here that goes to 35 by all accounts, but I'm not going to target that because there's only one. And yeah, now a £10 bream alongside a £10 tench. So let's see what happens. 2 AM on the second night. It's been a bit slow tonight. Another quality bream. Good, great condition again, considering they're only meant to be little ones in here. That's my 6th fish of this sort of size, so happy with that. Let's get it back, see what else is out there. First light after the second morning. A very quiet, oddly quiet night. This really hard fighting fish came to the net. Great condition again. Got a little bit of mark on his mouth, but boy, that put up one almighty scrap. Yeah, let's get it back, see what else is out there. Second morning wrap up. Very calm night. Was a bit rainy during the night though. and oddly quiet on the second night, but boy, I can't complain. I had 7 bream, really good quality fish, all over £8, and 5 carp, really hard fighting, immaculate condition, beautiful fish. Yeah, more than happy with that. Yeah, it was a funny one the second night. The temperature dropped quite considerably when it started raining. It went from 9 o'clock last night, being 9 Celsius, and by 1 o'clock in the morning it was down to 4 Celsius, and I think it was a sort of a northerly wind with cold rain, and I think that might have slowed the fish down, but yeah, more than happy. Already looking forward to getting back soon. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please don't forget, like it, subscribe, feel free to comment, ask any questions. I don't do secrets. I'm more than happy to tell you anything. Cheers, guys. First fishing session, not particularly big. Got a bit of a scrap. Good nick though. Another common, despite of there being quite a few mirrors in here. You can see this is just about £7.5. Let's get it back, see what else is out there. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, so a bit of a wait for this one. It's 1 o'clock on the second night. Been very slow, no sign of tension at all. Decided to put a slightly bigger bait on, to try and avoid the bream. And then what do I get? Whoop. As you can see, probably the best bream I've had from here. Pretty good condition actually. Certainly not an autumn bream, but still a nice fish. Anyway,